something has changed, and now the entire world is responding. He started with nothing, no allies, no map, no rules. Everything he has now he took. This is Unsolved Mysteries of the Ancient World. Chapter 1. There are still places in this world that leave modern people bewildered. Ancient structures so massive they defy belief, mysterious artifacts no one can read, and entire civilizations that once flourished brilliantly only to vanish without a trace. These are not legends or fairy tales, but real mysteries documented by archaeologists and historians. From colossal stone blocks that even modern machines struggle to move, to ancient cities now lying deep beneath the ocean. Tonight, we journey together into the unsolved mysteries of the ancient world, places where history itself sometimes breaks all the rules. Tomb of Qin Shi Huang, beneath the green hills of Shaanxi Province, China, lies a place where history and legend have yet to reach their deepest end. This is the tomb of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor to unite all of China. For more than 2,000 years, this mausoleum has remained perfectly intact, protected not only by an army of imposing terracotta warriors, but also by countless stories of hidden treasures, deadly traps, and secrets never revealed. While the famous terracotta army has been unearthed and become one of the world's greatest archaeological wonders, the central chamber of the tomb, where the most powerful emperor in Chinese history rests, remains completely untouched and unexplored. The tomb complex is located near Xi'an, spanning an immense area of 56 square kilometers. Construction began when Qin Shi Huang was only a 13-year-old boy and was completed only after his death. According to ancient records, over 700,000 laborers were mobilized to create this mausoleum, a figure far surpassing any other structure of its time. Surrounding the tomb are hundreds of burial pits, each filled with clay soldiers, war horses, and chariots. Every single statue was crafted with meticulous detail, their faces and armor distinct from one another, as if each figure had once truly lived in history. The historian Sima Qian once described the tomb as a magnificent underground palace, a microcosm of the emperor's entire kingdom. According to the chronicles, inside the tomb are flowing rivers of mercury representing the great rivers of China, designed to run eternally through the chamber. The ceiling was inlaid with pearls to recreate a sky full of stars, while treasures, palaces, and even officials were buried to serve the emperor in the afterlife. There were even automatic traps, crossbows set to fire at intruders, to protect the secrets of the tomb from any who might dare enter. Legend has it that many of the craftsmen who built the tomb were buried alive afterward to ensure no one could ever reveal its true entrance. Today, modern surveys using advanced technology have confirmed that beneath the massive mound lies a mysterious structure, and the soil in the area contains unusually high concentrations of mercury, perfectly matching Sima Qian's ancient descriptions. Yet not a single archaeologist has dared to dig deeper. The most important reason is that experts fear any attempt to excavate the tomb now would result in the permanent destruction of whatever remains inside. When the terracotta army was first discovered, the vibrant colors of the statues vanished within minutes of exposure to air. Furthermore, the mercury in the soil poses a significant danger to both people and the environment. If not handled with extreme care, the consequences could be akin to a massive chemical spill. Preservation technology for fragile materials such as silk, ancient paper, or important documents is still not truly ready for such an enormous task. Beyond scientific reasons, there are also deep spiritual and cultural factors at play. In China, imperial tombs are considered sacred ground. To disturb them would be seen as an affront to the ancestors and to national history itself. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang is even more special, for he is a symbol of unity and absolute power. Not only ordinary citizens, but even the government, are extremely cautious about releasing survey data. Many believe there may be secrets within the tomb that the world is simply not ready to face. Some bold theories even suggest the tomb could hold ancient knowledge far beyond our understanding, perhaps evidence of a once advanced civilization or lost technologies. Today, millions of visitors come each year to marvel at the terracotta army. Yet the central burial mound, believed to hold the emperor's actual tomb, still stands undisturbed, a silent reminder of a past filled with mystery and power. Lost tomb of Genghis Khan, beneath the vast skies and endless steppes of Mongolia, lies a mystery that has endured for more than 8 centuries, one that no one has yet been able to unravel. This is the lost tomb of Genghis Khan, the man who forged the greatest empire in human history. Despite being one of the most renowned conquerors of all time, his final resting place has left no trace. How could the burial site of such a legendary emperor vanish without a single clue? And does his tomb truly hold the legendary treasures gathered from across the Mongol Empire? Somewhere among the wild mountains and boundless grasslands of northern Mongolia, The tomb of Genghis Khan remains beyond the reach of archaeologists, explorers, and treasure hunters alike. He died in 1227, yet to this day no one has been able to determine exactly where he was buried. Unlike famous tombs such as the terracotta army of Qin Shi Huang or the Egyptian pyramids, Genghis Khan's burial site has left not the slightest sign on the surface. According to legend, he himself requested to be buried in absolute secrecy, leaving no trace for future generations. Even the secret history of the Mongols, the oldest surviving chronicle of Mongol history, mentions only the year of his death, saying nothing about his final resting place. Marco Polo, who lived under the rule of Genghis Khan's grandson, even wrote that the Mongols themselves did not know where the tomb was located. Folktales recount that after Genghis Khan died during a military campaign in northern China, his body was brought back to Mongolia. To keep the location a secret, the escort party reportedly killed every person they encountered along the journey home. Some legends go further, claiming that 2,000 people who attended the funeral were executed, and that those who carried out this grim task were themselves killed so that no one would ever know the truth. 1,000 horses were said to have been driven across the burial ground to erase all traces. Other stories speak of rivers being diverted to flood the tomb, or entire forests planted to conceal it. One particularly moving tale tells of a young camel buried with the emperor, and for years afterward, the mother camel returned to weep at the grave, helping Genghis Khan's descendants locate their ancestors' resting place. Yet to this day, no document has ever revealed the true location. For decades, countless theories have been proposed regarding the final resting place of Genghis Khan. Most researchers believe the tomb lies somewhere near Burkhan Kuldan, the sacred mountain where he was born and where he once prayed before uniting the Mongol tribes. Some archaeologists have used drones and modern imaging technology to search for anomalies, but every excavation effort has been blocked by local residents who regard the land as holy and will not permit it to be disturbed. There have even been projects using satellite imagery and crowdsourcing involving tens of thousands of volunteers analyzing data. Yet the results remain nothing more than unresolved theories. The mystery of Genghis Khan's tomb goes beyond its physical location. It is believed that if ever found, the site could hold enormous treasures and priceless artifacts from across the empire, stretching from China to Persia. Some tell of guardian spirits, deadly curses, and bizarre accidents that have befallen expeditions seeking the tomb. But for the Mongolian people, what matters most is the respect owed to their national hero. Genghis Khan was not only a conqueror, he laid the foundation for religious freedom, a postal system, even paper currency. They believe his wishes must be honored, and any intrusion would be seen as a grave insult to their ancestors. Today, despite the march of technology, the Kentiye region remains a remote, nearly inaccessible wilderness, and the tomb of Genghis Khan ran out of humanity's grasp. Should this mystery ever be solved, the discovery could rival the unearthing of the terracotta army or the rediscovery of lost ancient scrolls. Yet perhaps his tomb will always remain a part of legend, protected by the vast steppe, the silent rivers, and the shadows of galloping horses racing endlessly through history. The giant of Castelnau, in the winter of 1890, in a small village called Castelnau in southern France, the anthropologist Georges Vacher de la Pauge unearthed 3 enormous bone fragments from a burial mound dating back to the Bronze Age. These fragments, he claimed, belonged to a human who stood over 11 feet tall, a height that far surpasses every conventional standard of our species. Was this truly evidence of a race of giants that once walked the earth, or merely the result of a strange and improbable mistake? When Georges Vacher de la Pauge began his archaeological work in Castelnau, he never expected to encounter 3 remarkable bones, a section of a femur, part of a tibia, and a piece believed to be from an arm bone. The measurements, published in the journal Nature in 1890, showed that these bones were twice the size of modern human bones. The femur measured 14 centimeters across with a circumference of 16 centimeters. The tibia was 26 centimeters long, and the arm fragment was unusually large. Based on these calculations, Lapauge estimated that the individual must have stood 3.5 meters tall and weighed several hundred kilograms. He went so far as to insist that these were unquestionably human bones, despite their extraordinary size. The fragments were later sent to the University of Montpellier for expert analysis. Leading figures in zoology, paleontology, and anatomy all agreed that the bones belonged to a very tall race, though they also noted the possibility of pathological growth. Just a few years later, further reports emerged. Giant skulls and large bone fragments were discovered near Montpellier, believed to have come from people between 10 and 15 feet tall. These remains were sent to the French Academy of Sciences, but afterward they vanished without a trace, leaving modern science unable to follow their trail. The Castellneo mystery only deepened as modern scholars began to question the origin of these bones. In 2022, anthropologist Catherine Hacken proposed that they might have simply been the bones of a giant bear that once roamed prehistoric Europe. In the 19th century, it was not uncommon for large animal bones to be mistaken for human remains, especially when anatomical knowledge was still limited. But if these were merely animal bones, why did the Montpellier experts of that time confirm them as human? And why, to this day, has no modern study ever re-examined these fragments? The story of the giant of Castilnau is not merely a question for archaeology. It opens a doorway into the realm of myth and legend. From the Cyclops of ancient Greece to the Nephilim in the Bible, almost every culture has tales of giants who once walked the earth. In Castilnau, villagers still speak of a cave that once sheltered a giant, and 19th century newspapers claimed that Lepauge's discovery might be the key to unraveling those ancient legends. Some have even speculated that these bones are traces of a lost civilization, or perhaps of extraterrestrial visitors, though no scientific evidence has ever been produced. Still, the world of archaeology is not without its hoaxes and exaggerations, often driven by religious or financial motives. The Cardiff giant, a stone statue buried to fool the American public in 1869, is one famous example. Yet the fact that leading experts in Montpellier examined and verified the Castilnau bones in 1890 makes the hoax theory harder to accept in this particular case. Today, the bones that once shocked the world have disappeared from all collections, their whereabouts unknown, and they have never been re-examined with modern technology. The question of the giant of Castilnau's origin remains unanswered. If such a being truly existed, why has no further evidence ever surfaced in a region so rich in archaeological sites? And if it is all just legend, why does the story endure, continuing to challenge the curiosity of humankind? Longyou Caves, hidden deep beneath the lush green rice fields of Longyou County, Zhejiang Province, China, lies one of the greatest archaeological mysteries ever encountered by modern history. It is known as the Longyou Caves complex. The story of Longyou began entirely by chance in the summer of 1992, when a local farmer decided to drain the water from a large natural pit near his home to expand it. He had no idea that beneath the still surface of the water lay a vast space, a massive cavern, with perfectly flat walls covered in evenly carved patterns that seemed as if they had been made by modern machinery. This discovery sparked immense curiosity and excitement throughout the village. The locals continued to pump water from other pits nearby, and soon, before their eyes, appeared an entire underground city of more than 20 interconnected caves. What makes Longyou a mystery that defies every theory is the sheer perfection of its engineering and scale. Each cave rises more than 30 meters high, with walls that have been smoothed and sculpted to a flawless finish. The domed ceilings and pillars are laid out in precise harmony, and every surface is covered with parallel wave-like carvings, running in unbroken lines from the ceilings to the stone floors. No human remains or artifacts have ever been found, nothing to indicate that any community ever lived or labored here. Who built the Longyou Caves? According to archaeologists, based on the erosion of the stone and other geological factors, the complex could be more than 2,000 years old, dating to the Qin or early Han dynasty. And yet, not a single ancient Chinese chronicle makes any mention of Longyou. How could such a massive undertaking vanish entirely from the historical record? Many theories have been proposed, but each one only leads to more unanswered questions. Some suggest the caves were ancient granaries, wartime shelters, or even forgotten royal tombs. A few Western researchers lean toward the idea that Longyou was a sacred site, or perhaps a secret ceremonial center. Most striking of all, the nearly identical carved patterns in every single cave suggest that the project was executed under unified direction, using skills that far exceeded the standards of any known ancient civilization. Could this be the legacy of a civilization we have never known, or the product of construction techniques now lost to time, beyond the imagination of the modern world? Today, the Longyou Caves still lay quietly beneath the farmland, a testament to the creative power and the enduring mysteries of those who came before us. And until some deeper secret is revealed, the Longyou Caves will remain a reminder that human history is filled with unwritten pages, unanswered questions, and a quest to understand the true origins and meaning of wonders that will continue to captivate generations of explorers. The Baalbek megaliths, hidden within the Bekaa Valley of Lebanon, once a crossroads for ancient civilizations, the old town of Baalbek has long stood at the center of one of the greatest architectural mysteries in human history. Upon arriving here, no one could suspect that behind these age-old ruins lie stone blocks so enormous that their size and weight defy both the imagination and the limits of modern engineering. At the heart of this enigma are the three famous stones known as the trilithon. Each block is nearly 20 meters long, over 4 meters high, and weighs between 750 and 800 tons. To put it in perspective, each stone is as large as a Boeing airliner. These massive blocks are stacked atop one another, forming the foundation for the legendary Temple of Jupiter, a structure built by the Romans in the 1st century AD. Yet the sheer weight and scale of these stones far surpass anything the Roman civilization was thought to be capable of. There is no record of any Roman lifting device or construction tool capable of moving stones of such staggering mass. Not far away, right at an ancient quarry, even larger blocks have been found. Among them is the stone of the pregnant woman, weighing nearly 1,000 tons, another block weighing 1,242 tons, and most remarkably, in 2014, archaeologists uncovered a stone weighing a staggering 1,650 tons, regarded as the largest stone block ever known to mankind. Strikingly, these giant stones remain in the quarry, posing a tremendous question about the true intentions and capabilities of the ancients. Numerous theories have been put forth to explain the mystery of Baalbek. Some researchers believe the Romans used wooden rollers and earthen ramps to transport the stones from the quarry to the construction site. Yet this theory quickly reveals its weakness, for the Roman cranes could only lift between 60 and 100 tons at most, while the blocks here are many times heavier. Moreover, there is no evidence that they ever used a coordinated system of machines to solve this challenge. For this reason, many scholars now believe that the foundation of the Temple of Jupiter actually predates the Romans, perhaps belonging to a civilization much older and more advanced. They point to striking similarities between Baalbek and other megalithic structures around the world, such as the Sacsayhuaman fortress in Peru and the Egyptian pyramids. Could it be that ancient humanity possessed technologies far beyond what we know today? Despite decades of research, the secret of the giant stones at Baalbek remains unresolved. There are no ancient records describing how this feat was accomplished. The tools used have left no trace. All that remains are the silent stones themselves, defying the passage of time and resisting every effort humanity has made to unlock their mystery. The Devil's Bible, Codex Gigas, within the archives of Sweden's National Library lies one of the most haunting and enigmatic manuscripts ever crafted by human hands, the Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible. Regarded as the largest surviving medieval manuscript, the Codex Gigas astonishes not only with its colossal size, but also with the dark and chilling legends that have surrounded it for nearly 800 years. The manuscript weighs nearly 75 kilograms, measures 92 centimeters long, 50 centimeters wide, and 22 centimeters thick, so large that even a grown adult must use both arms just to move it. Experts estimate that it would have taken hundreds of sheets of calfskin to produce its massive pages. But its size is not the only thing that makes the Codex Gigas famous. What truly elevates it to legend are the stories of curses and supernatural powers that have become attached to the book. According to a legend passed down since the 13th century, the manuscript was written by a Benedictine monk in Bohemia, a land that is now part of the Czech Republic. This monk had committed a terrible crime and was sentenced to be walled up alive in the monastery, a punishment among the most horrifying of the Middle Ages. Desperate and terrified, he pleaded for his life, promising that if given one night, he could produce a manuscript containing all human knowledge, from the Bible to the sciences of history, medicine, and magic. Knowing the task was impossible for any mortal, the monk is said to have made a plea to the devil. According to legend, Satan himself appeared and helped him finish the manuscript in a single night in exchange for the monk's soul. In gratitude, the monk painted a gigantic portrait of the devil in the very center of the book, a demonic image unlike anything seen in any other biblical manuscript on earth. Yet this story is only legend. In reality, researchers have determined that the Codex Gigas was completed in the early 13th century at Bajtapadius Monastery. But what continues to astonish modern scholars is the perfect consistency of handwriting and style across all 620 pages. It appears as though the book was written by a single hand, possibly over many years. Inside the Codex Gigas is not only the entire Latin Bible, but also texts on history, anatomy, magic, astrology, and even catalogs of demons and spells. Most striking of all is the enormous illustration of Satan with glowing eyes, a red tongue, and razor-sharp claws, positioned in the middle of the manuscript. This image has convinced many that the book is cursed, and that whoever possesses it is doomed to misfortune or catastrophe. Over the centuries, the Devil's Bible has witnessed countless upheavals. It was once seized by Swedish forces as a prize during the 30 Years' War and taken to Stockholm in 1648, where it remains preserved to this day. There are tales that wherever the manuscript appears, disaster follows, disease, war, or even the collapse of dynasties. Today, the Codex Gigas continues to draw thousands of scholars, theologians, and mystery seekers from all over the world, and until the Codex Gigas is fully deciphered, it will remain a symbol of obsession, curiosity, and the endless quest to uncover secrets that humanity has yet to understand. Göbekli Tepe, buried beneath the parched soil and stony hills of the Anatolian Toe in Turkey, Göbekli Tepe remains silent and forgotten by history until the end of the 20th century. In 1994, when German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt struck the earth with his first shovel at this spot, no one could have imagined he was about to shake the very foundations of what we thought we knew about human history. For what gradually emerged at Göbekli Tepe left the world in awe. Hidden deep underground were massive circles of limestone pillars, each column rising up to 6 meters tall and weighing dozens of tons. Even more astonishing is the age of this site, more than 11,000 years old, meaning it predates the invention of the wheel, the discovery of agriculture, even the use of metal. It is a relic older than both the Egyptian pyramids and Stonehenge. These T-shaped pillars are not only monumental in size, but are also intricately carved with depictions of animals, lions, wild cattle, foxes, snakes, as well as countless abstract symbols. Every carving reads like a silent story, a testament to the worldview, beliefs, and imagination of prehistoric communities. The sheer sophistication of the work has left researchers questioning who conceived, designed, and built such a colossal wonder. The greatest paradox is that Göbekli Tepe is believed to have been built by groups of hunter-gatherers, societies long thought to be scattered and incapable of organizing such a monumental project. This very discovery has forced scientists to rethink the connection between religion, belief, and the rise of complex societies. Even stranger, around 8000 BC, the ancient builders deliberately buried the temple as if determined to seal its secrets away forever. That mysterious decision is what allowed the site to remain almost perfectly preserved for thousands of years. Today, as Göbekli Tepe's ancient stones are brought into the light for the first time in millennia, they do more than rewrite our understanding of the past. They raise a host of questions that have yet to be answered. Could it be that human history is far deeper and more complex than we ever imagined? And how many more secrets still slumber beneath the earth, waiting to be discovered? The White Pyramid of China, hidden beneath the dust of centuries in Shaanxi Province, China, the White Pyramid stands as one of the greatest enigmas that modern archaeology has ever faced. The stories surrounding it are not mere legends, but living symbols of our relentless urge to explore and of our deep frustration before mysteries that remain unsolved. In 1945, American pilot James Gaussman, during a transport flight over the northwestern mountains of China, reported seeing a colossal pyramid in the valley below, its four faces gleaming white in a way that seemed almost impossible to believe. Just 2 years later, in 1947, another pilot named Morris Sheehan comes Gaussman's account and even managed to take a few blurry black-and white photos of the mysterious structure. When these images and reports reached the West, they caused a sensation among archaeologists and in the global media. Yet, as the war ended, China's borders gradually closed to foreign researchers. The area said to be the location of the White Pyramid came under strict control. Only a handful of local scholars were ever allowed to investigate, and official reports claimed these were nothing more than earthen burial mounds for ancient emperors, built between the Qin and Tang dynasties. The Chinese authorities insisted that no White Pyramid of extraordinary dimensions, as described by American pilots, truly existed. Even so, in recent decades, satellite images released by both Western and Russian sources have revealed pyramid-like structures scattered throughout Shaanxi. Some rise from 50 to over 100 meters tall, much larger than the pyramids of Egypt. One remarkable detail is the legend of the shining white surface. Local traditions tell that the structure was once covered in a layer of pure white limestone or clay, which reflected the sun and made it stand out against the gray backdrop of the surrounding mountains. Some Western scholars have compared it to the Great Pyramid of Giza and even claim the White Pyramid's estimated height of 300 meters and a base perimeter of more than 450 meters would surpass the wonders of Egypt. Who, then, built this immense structure? And for what purpose? Theories about the White Pyramid are as diverse and mysterious as the monument itself. Some archaeologists believe it was merely the burial mound of Chinese emperors, built as a statement of absolute power. Yet those drawn to mystery suggest that the White Pyramid is a relic of an ancient civilization now lost, one that predates the recorded history of China itself. More radical theories claim that the White Pyramid once served as a religious center or an astronomical site, much like the pyramids of the Maya, or even as an ancient observatory. They point to the way many pyramids in Shaanxi seem to be aligned with certain constellations, echoing the arrangement of the pyramids in Egypt. Some have even linked these structures to extraterrestrial civilizations, an idea as fascinating as is unproven. Yet all these theories run up against one immovable fact. To this day, no one outside the Chinese archaeological community has been allowed full access to excavate or rigorously study these pyramids. Many tombs remain undisturbed, for there is a Chinese belief that one should not disturb the emperor's slumber, lest disaster befall you. This only makes the White Pyramid a more powerful symbol of prohibition, a place where the boundary between reality and legend is still unbroken. Today, satellite images and covert expeditions have only increased the allure of the White Pyramid. It is not only a forgotten wonder, but a challenge to all who long to reach the hidden layers of human history. Could it be that beneath that shroud of earth and stone lies an unwritten chapter of civilization? And will the day ever come when that secret door is opened, allowing the world to truly behold the monumental structure that once stood on the banks of the Yellow River? The Black Sarcophagus of Alexandria, among the most sensational archaeological discoveries of the 21st century in Egypt. Nothing compares to the frenzy ignited by the Black Sarcophagus in the summer of 2018. It all began at an ordinary construction site on Al-Karmeli Street in Alexandria, a city once hailed as the cultural, intellectual, and political heart of the ancient Mediterranean. As workers dug the foundations for a new building, they unexpectedly unearthed a massive stone block buried deep in the earth. Archaeologists were immediately summoned to the scene. After clearing away nearly 5 meters of soil and rubble, what emerged before them was a rectangular coffin made entirely of black granite, almost 2.7 meters long, 1.5 meters wide, over 1.8 meters tall, and weighing nearly 30 tons. It was larger than almost any sarcophagus ever found in Alexandria, or indeed anywhere in Egypt. Next to it was an alabaster bust, its face worn smooth with age, leaving the true identity of the tomb's owner an even greater enigma. Where royal or noble coffins are typically adorned with hieroglyphs, carvings, or paintings recounting names or achievements, this black sarcophagus was completely bare, except for a plaster seal eroded away by centuries. This anonymous construction only fueled speculation. Was this the secret grave of a significant figure, or someone whose role in turbulent history had to be hidden from future generations? Rumors and conspiracy theories swirled. Some whispered that this could be the final resting place of Alexander the Great, the legendary king who founded the city itself. The body of Alexander has been missing for over 2 millennia. Was there an ancient curse inside the sarcophagus, like the legends that surrounded so many Egyptian tombs since Carter's discovery of Tutankhamun? Curiosity peaked in July 2018, when experts decided to open the sarcophagus. Due to its enormous size and depth, the operation required modern lifting equipment and strict safety measures to guard against toxic gases or biological hazards. When the lid was finally pried open, those present held their breath. Inside was neither an intact mummy as many had hoped, nor any treasure. Instead, a foul stench filled the air, the result of filthy water seeping in over thousands of years, mixing with decomposing bodies to form a thick, reddish-brown liquid. Bizarre rumors quickly spread. Some even asked for permission to drink the sarcophagus water in hopes of gaining supernatural power, forcing Egyptian authorities to issue health warnings to the public. Forensic analysis soon revealed 3 skeletons inside, stacked atop one another, 2 men and a woman. There was no trace of royalty, no gold or precious burial goods. Skull fractures on one individual suggested death from violence or warfare, while tests on teeth, bones, and carbon dating placed the remains around the 4th century BC, the early Ptolemaic era, when Alexandria was among the world's most prosperous cities. What puzzled scientists was why such a rare, enormous, and expensive granite sarcophagus would be used for 3 ordinary individuals, buried without ceremony, with no inscription. Some theorized they might have been members of a forgotten noble family, soldiers who died in chaos, or high officials deliberately erased from history for political reasons. Others wondered if a taboo related to religion had forced their names to be erased forever. The use of black granite for the sarcophagus is itself remarkable. This stone would have had to be transported from Aswan, hundreds of miles south of Alexandria, a feat requiring enormous resources and money. The true reason for using such precious, enduring stone for an anonymous tomb remains a mystery. The discovery of the Black Sarcophagus is not just an archaeological event. It is proof that history always finds ways to bury its strangest tales and forgotten lives right in the heart of a city once called the Jewel of the East. It stands as a reminder that even after thousands of tombs and treasures have been unearthed, Egypt still holds countless secrets slumbering beneath the ground. The Piri Rise map. Amidst the Mediterranean sea breeze of the 16th century, a great mystery quietly appeared on the old parchment of a Turkish cartographer. It was the Piri Rise map, a historical legacy that is both strange and challenging to all the understanding of the modern world. Drawn in 1513 by Admiral Piri Rise, this map has astonished researchers for hundreds of years, not only because of its accuracy, but also because of details that seem to go far beyond the scientific capabilities of the Middle Ages. The Piri Rise map today remains only 1/3 of its original, but that remaining part alone is enough to make scholars from both the West and the East rack their brains in thought. On the Piri Rise map appear the western coast of Africa, the eastern coast of South America, and most astonishingly, the northernmost part of Antarctica, a continent that would not be discovered by modern humans for more than 3 centuries. But even stranger are the details on the map, which show Antarctica not covered in ice, as if the author had drawn it before the Ice Age. The mystery begins with Piri Rise's own notes. He claimed that he had relied on more than 20 ancient maps from the Greek and Roman eras, and even some said to be from Columbus. However, not a single one of these maps can explain the astonishing accuracy of the coastlines or the appearance of Antarctica before it was covered in ice. Many theories have been proposed to explain this mystery. Some researchers believe that Piri Rise inherited ancient knowledge that modern humanity has long forgotten, even going so far as to ask whether the civilization of Atlantis once existed and possessed surveying techniques far ahead of its time. Others believe the map is simply the result of patchwork and exaggeration, passed down by word of mouth and the imagination of sailors. However, the truth has not yet been solved. The Piri Rise map is not just an ancient document, but also a mirror reflecting the limits of human perception. How could a 16th century Ottoman admiral draw such accurate geographical features at a time when surveying tools and knowledge of the world were still so limited? Was there truly a prehistoric civilization, or is this simply a random coincidence of history? Even though the answer remains unanswered, the map of Piri Rise still lies silently in the Topkapi Museum in Istanbul as a challenge left to all future generations. It does not just tell the story of the bravery of those who sailed the seas, but is also evidence of the power of curiosity, the thirst for discovery, and the mysteries that humanity has yet to reach. The vanishing of the Clovis people. The story of the Clovis people began in the 1930s when archaeologists discovered unique and sophisticated stone spear points at a site near the city of Clovis, New Mexico. These sharp points were quickly determined to date back around 13,000 years, serving as proof of the existence of an advanced and mysterious hunting culture in North America. The Clovis people are regarded as masters of stone technology, with weapon-making techniques so advanced that even today, modern researchers still have much to learn from them. They survived by hunting large animals that are now extinct, such as mammoths, North American camels, and giant deer, and used sharp tools to endure the harsh conditions at the end of the Ice Age. But then the Clovis culture suddenly vanished from all archaeological records within just a few hundred years. Scientists are still actively debating the real reason for their collapse. Some theories suggest that dramatic climate change at the end of the Ice Age, with rising temperatures and rapidly shifting environments, led to the extinction of the large animals on which the Clovis depended, dragging this group into ruin as well. Other researchers believe that the Clovis encountered a meteorite disaster as evidence of cosmic glass, carbon dust, and widespread wildfires has been found at many ancient sites dating to the same period. Was it a meteor impact that wiped out this culture in an instant? Or did the Clovis people actually migrate to other lands? The question of the origin and final fate of the Clovis people is not just an American mystery, but a story shared by all of humanity, a reminder of the fragility of civilizations and of their ability to adapt or collapse when faced with the harsh changes of nature. The disappearance of the Clovis people is a warning that even a thriving civilization can vanish without a trace, leaving behind only small fragments for future generations to seek meaning. Today, as archaeologists continue to excavate sites and analyze every fragment of earth and stone, the story of the Clovis people remains an endless source of inspiration for scientists, writers, and anyone fascinated by the exploration of history. It urges us to ask profound questions about life and about the inevitable decline that every civilization in the world must eventually face. The Rohank Codex Hidden away in the archives of a small library in Hungary lies a strange book that has confounded scholars for nearly 2 centuries. This is the Longyou Codex, a mysterious manuscript that even to this day no one in the world has been able to read, or even truly understand what it is actually recording. The book was discovered in the early 19th century in the town of Longyou. On its rough, time-stained pages, over 400 manuscript leaves appear, filled with characters unlike any writing system ever known. This script contains thousands of unique symbols, none of which have ever appeared in any language or ancient script. The mystery of the Longyou Codex deepens with the presence of more than 80 illustrations within the book, depicting scenes of daily life, religious rituals, warfare, and even figures laden with religious symbolism. Some of the images seem reminiscent of Christianity, yet they are blended with elements of Islam and paganism, making the origin and meaning even more complicated to unravel. Who is the author of this book? Why invent such an enigmatic script? And what was the book truly trying to convey to future generations? Over the decades, many researchers have proposed various theories. Some believe it is a prayer book belonging to a secret sect that once existed in Central Europe, or that it is the secret record of an ancient religious community wishing to protect its secrets from the outside world. Some modern scholars, however, have questioned the manuscript's authenticity. They argue it could be a sophisticated hoax from the 19th century, created solely to challenge the curiosity and abilities of researchers. No matter its origin, the Longyou Codex remains steadfast in guarding its secrets. Teams of linguists, cryptographers, and historians have poured immense effort into research, trying every technique from modern linguistic analysis to digital technology. Yet the book still refuses to yield even a single line of meaning. The script within continues to defy the imagination of humanity. Today, as technology has enabled people to decode a multitude of ancient texts, from dead languages to messages hidden deep within the Egyptian pyramids, the Longyou Codex remains an enigma that science has yet to solve. And like so many other great mysteries in history, this book reminds us all that no matter how advanced modern civilization becomes, there are still corners of the world that remain unanswered. Stone spheres of Costa Rica, amidst the deep green tropical forests and the vast southern plains of Costa Rica, hundreds of strange stone spheres lie scattered like silent gatekeepers for a civilization that has vanished from the flow of history. Known as Las Bolas or the Diquis spheres, these stone artifacts have puzzled archaeologists for nearly a century. The first stone spheres were discovered in the 1930s, when workers were clearing land to plant bananas for the United Fruit Company. To the astonishment of the laborers, stone orbs both large and small emerged from the earth, some only the size of a volleyball, but others more than 2 meters in diameter and weighing up to 16 tons. They were carved from granodiorite, an extremely hard stone, using methods that even modern technology must admire for their roundness and the polished surface. Although many archaeological sites suggest the spheres may have appeared from around the year 600 AD to the 16th century, not a single ancient record mentions the process of their creation or their actual role in ancient society. Archaeologists believe the spheres belong to the Diquis culture, a once flourishing civilization that disappeared without a trace before the Spanish ever set foot in this land. Many different theories have been proposed to explain the existence of these stone spheres. Some people believe they were symbols of power or the cosmos, and that they were arranged according to constellations as a kind of ancient astronomical calendar. Some researchers think the spheres marked the boundaries of settlements, or were objects used in religious ceremonies. Recent discoveries in excavated settlements show that at times the spheres were placed in front of the houses of the wealthy or chieftains to indicate their social status. However, all explanations remain speculation, as those who created the spheres left no written records or ancient texts behind. Over time, modern humans have unfortunately caused considerable damage to these stone spheres. In the 20th century, many spheres were moved to home gardens, parks, or even destroyed in the search for gold, as told in local legends. Only in recent decades have the Costa Rican government and UNESCO begun to recognize the World Heritage value of the spheres and promote more serious efforts at conservation and research. Today, the stone spheres of Costa Rica are not only evidence of a lost ancient civilization, but also serve as a reminder of the patience, painstaking effort, and boundless creativity of people in the past. They pose great questions to both science and imagination. How could a society without metal, or even the wheel, create and move such enormous stones with such precision? Are these spheres simply works of art, or do they contain a message that few generations have yet to understand? The lost civilization of Doggerland. Imagine a distant time, about 10,000 years ago, when the North Sea was not an endless expanse of water but a fertile land. That place was called Doggerland, a lost world that once connected England to continental Europe, a land so beautiful that many people have called it the Atlantis of Europe. Then, in a terrifying event, sea levels rose, and a massive tsunami swallowed everything, leaving behind only vague stories beneath the ocean floor. Doggerland stretched from what is now Scotland to the Netherlands, a vast region of green meadows, winding rivers, dense forests, and flooded marshlands. Named after Doggerbank, a sandbank beneath the North Sea, this land was once a paradise for Mesolithic hunter-gatherers. They hunted mammoths, reindeer, and red deer, fished in lakes, and foraged for berries and chestnuts. But what happened to this beautiful land? When the last ice age ended, about 10,000 BC, melting ice caused sea levels to rise, gradually encroaching on the lowlands of Doggerland. Around 8,200 years ago, a giant tsunami, triggered by the Storegga submarine landslide off the coast of Norway, submerged Doggerland underwater. Some researchers believe that the northern regions of Doggerland may have survived for several more centuries thanks to the protection of hills and forests, but by 5,500 BC, the North Sea had swallowed all the remaining high ground. The mystery of Doggerland has captivated both archaeologists and dreamers alike. Was this sunken land the Atlantis that the philosopher Plato described? Although this theory is controversial, Doggerland's vast plains are very similar to those in the legends of a lost civilization. Others see Doggerland as a warning, reminding us of the power of nature and the threat of climate change. Countless artifacts, mammoth tusks, flint tools, even fossilized footprints have been pulled up from the bottom of the North Sea, each one like a faint glimmer from a vanished world. In 2019, researchers discovered a submerged forest here, fueling hope of finding settlements preserved beneath the mud. But despite all the discoveries, no clear traces of Doggerland's villages or cities have yet been found. For centuries, Doggerland was forgotten, known only when 19th-century fishermen began hauling strange relics from the sea. Today, archaeologists use seismic data from oil companies to redraw the map of this land, while amateur treasure hunters scour Dutch beaches in search of fossils and tools. But the more that is discovered, the more questions arise. Was Doggerland merely a land bridge, or was it once a center of culture and trade in Mesolithic Europe? And what lesson does its disappearance hold for us, as rising sea levels threaten today's coastal cities? The story of Doggerland is not just about a lost land. It is a haunting reminder of humanity's fragility before the forces of nature, and a challenge to uncover the secrets that still lay hidden beneath the North Sea. The unfinished obelisk of Aswan, more than 3,500 years ago, in the fiery red granite quarries beside the Nile, the ancient Egyptians embarked on an ambitious mission to create a gigantic obelisk larger than any monument ever raised. But before this masterpiece could be completed, a mysterious crack forced it to be abandoned in the quarry, where it remains to this day. How could the ancients carve such a massive block of stone with only primitive tools? And why did they abandon such an ambitious project? Located in the northern quarry of Aswan, about 2 kilometers from the city center, the unfinished obelisk is the remnant of extraordinary ambition. It is believed to have been commissioned by Queen Hatshepsut during the 18th dynasty for placement at the Karnak Temple. If completed, this obelisk would have stood 41.75 meters tall, twice the height of standard obelisks like those at Karnak, and weighed about 1,200 tons, equivalent to 200 African elephants. Carved directly from the red granite, the famous hardstone of Aswan, the obelisk has 3 faces already finished with smooth and precise lines. What makes this obelisk special are the clues it leaves behind about how the Egyptians carved and transported such enormous stones. Archaeologists have discovered that they used dolerite balls to pound and smooth the surfaces. To separate the obelisk from the bedrock, they drilled small holes along the cutting line and inserted dry wooden wedges, then poured water to make the wood expand and crack the stone along the intended path. A 2005 discovery at the Aswan Quarry even found an unfinished obelisk base in rock carvings, suggesting this was the birthplace of many famous obelisks, such as Cleopatra's Needle in London and blocks used for the Giza pyramids. But why was this project abandoned? According to records, a major crack appeared in the granite, causing the stoneworkers to give up the endeavor. But the story does not end with a single crack. Some scholars believe the crack may have resulted from quarrying errors, or perhaps the granite in this area had natural flaws. However, bolder theories have surfaced. The obelisk may be connected to a catastrophic event, such as an earthquake, or a major social disruption during Hatshepsut's reign. Some even speculate that this monument is the remnant of a more advanced civilization, with obelisks serving as space antennas linked to the constellations. While there is no scientific evidence for this, such ideas continue to circulate, especially as archaeologists have noted that the obelisk was designed to resemble the Benben, the primordial mound in Egyptian creation mythology, where the sun god Autumn stood to create the world. Another mystery is the scale of the project. With a weight of 1,200 tons, this obelisk would have been the largest stone ever handled by the Egyptians. How did they plan to transport it over 200 kilometers to Karnak when the boats on the Nile could hardly bear such weight? Records suggest they used wooden rafts and took advantage of the summer floods to move the stone, but there are no specific accounts for this particular obelisk. Some scholars believe Hatshepsut's ambition may have surpassed the technical capabilities of her time. Yet the fact that three sides of the obelisk were nearly finished shows they came very close to success before the crack appeared. Was there something else, such as a curse or a political event, that brought the project to a halt? The unfinished obelisk of Aswan stands as a testament to the boldness of the ancient Egyptians. But it is also a reminder that even the greatest civilizations have their limits. Is the crack in the granite simply a sign of a technical mistake or a warning sent by the gods? Kailasa Temple, thousands of years ago, when humanity still knew nothing of modern machines, a miracle of architecture was carved out of solid rock in India. Kailasa Temple, hidden within the Ellora Cave complex, is not only a monumental structure, but also a mystery that challenges everything we think we know about the capabilities of ancient people. Nestled in the Sahyadri Hills of Maharashtra, India, Kailasa Temple is the largest monolithic stone structure in the world. Unlike the Egyptian pyramids, which were built from millions of blocks stacked together, Kailasa was carved entirely from a single massive basalt rock, its dimensions twice that of the Parthenon in Athens. The structure stands over 30 meters high, stretches 300 meters long, and spans 175 meters wide, all surrounded by a U-shaped courtyard plunging 50 meters deep. What astonishes people most is the method of construction. The craftsmen started from the mountaintop and cut downward, a technique that goes against all conventional building practices. They removed more than 400,000 tons of rock using nothing but simple hammers and chisels, creating a temple with unbelievably intricate carvings. Every corner of Kailasa Temple is a work of art. The stone walls are covered with carvings depicting Shiva, Vishnu, and other deities. One of the most outstanding reliefs shows the demon King Ravana trying to lift Mount Kailasa, the abode of Shiva, considered a masterpiece of Indian art. Archaeologists have even discovered more than 30 million Sanskrit characters carved into the rock, most of which remain untranslated. Could these inscriptions be hiding a message from the past? According to historians, Kailasa Temple was built in the 8th century under the reign of King Krishna of the Rashtrakuta dynasty. Tells that the queen prayed to Shiva to cure her husband's illness and vowed to fast until she could see the temple's tower completed. To save her, an architect named Kakasa promised to finish the top of the temple within a week by starting to carve from the top down. This legend may be only folklore, but one thing is certain: Kailasa Temple was completed at a staggering pace in just 18 years. How could such a gigantic structure have been finished so quickly with the technology of that era? But the mystery does not end there. Some researchers believe Kailasa may be far older than we think. Could a civilization, more than 1,200 years ago, really achieve such a feat with only hammers and chisels? Some bold theories propose that the temple could be the product of a forgotten advanced civilization, or even linked to technologies far beyond our understanding. Traces of drilling on the stone, and almost perfectly straight cuts, have led some to speculate about the involvement of alien technology. Another theory suggests that Kailasa was the result of large-scale collaboration between artisans from many different regions. Archaeologists believe that craftsmen from the Chalukya and Pallava dynasties contributed South Indian architectural styles to the project. Yet even this theory cannot explain why there are no traces of large construction tools or nearby quarry sites. Was the knowledge required to build Kailasa passed down through generations, or was it lost along with its creators? Strangely enough, Kailasa Temple was once nearly destroyed. In the 17th century, the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb ordered 1,000 men to demolish the temple. After 3 years of effort, they succeeded only in making a few scratches and destroying some small statues before giving up. The hardness of the basalt and the solidity of the structure made this attempt a complete failure. Kailasa Temple stands as a testament to human power and creativity, or perhaps to something even greater. But like many other mysteries in history, Kailasa keeps its secrets locked away, challenging us to continue searching for the truth hidden deep within the stone. The Lost Library of Alexandria, situated in the heart of Alexandria, a city founded by Alexander the Great around 330 BC, the Library of Alexandria was the intellectual center of the ancient world. Built during the reign of Ptolemy I Soter and reaching its height under Ptolemy Tuker Philadelphus in the 3rd century BC, this library was part of the Mausoleum, the Temple of the Muses, where the greatest scholars, poets, and scientists of the time gathered. It is estimated that the library housed between 200,000 and 700,000 papyrus scrolls, including the works of Homer, Plato, Aristotle, and countless other texts from Greece, Persia, Egypt, and India. Not merely a repository, the Mausoleum was a vibrant academic community where Euclid laid the foundations of geometry, Eratosthenes calculated the circumference of the earth with remarkable precision, and Archimedes invented creations that changed the world. But what made the Library of Alexandria truly special was not just the sheer number of books. The Ptolemaic dynasty sent people all over the world to collect manuscripts, even borrowing books from ships docking at the port to copy them before returning. The library had a team of renowned librarians, such as Aristarchus of Samothrace, who standardized the texts of Homer. The scrolls were carefully organized, translated into Greek, and stored in marble-floored rooms. Today, however, no architectural traces of the library remain, and what we know of it is pieced together only from ancient records. So what destroyed this great treasure trove of knowledge? The story of the Library of Alexandria's downfall is shrouded in legend and controversy. Many believe that a devastating fire destroyed the entire library, but the truth is far more complex. One of the first suspects is Julius Caesar. In 48 BC, during his war with Pompey, Caesar ordered the burning of Egyptian ships in the port of Alexandria. The fire spread to the shore, destroying part of the city and, according to some accounts, burning as many as 40,000 scrolls. Yet historians such as Strabo, who visited Alexandria afterward, still describe the library as a surviving institution, suggesting it was not completely destroyed. Another theory involves the 4th century AD, when Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire. Emperor Theodosius I issued a decree to destroy pagan temples, including the Serapeum, a temple in Alexandria that housed a daughter library of the main library. Some even blame the Muslim conquest in 642 AD, with the story that General Amr ibn al-As burned the books to heat the city's baths. However, this account appears only in 13th century Islamic texts, leading many scholars to doubt its authenticity. Modern historians believe that the Library of Alexandria gradually declined over many centuries. From the 2nd century BC, the Ptolemaic dynasty weakened and support for the library diminished. Wars, internal strife, and Alexandria's decline as a cultural center all contributed to the library's fall into oblivion. So what did we lose? No one knows for sure, but the decline of the Library of Alexandria is considered one of the greatest intellectual disasters in history. The works of Sappho, Euclid, or Aristotle may have been lost as unique originals. Some speculate that the library contained texts on mathematics, astronomy, or engineering that could have accelerated scientific progress if preserved. Bolder theories suggest the library held knowledge from even older civilizations such as Babylon, or from legendary civilizations now forgotten. But some believe that many important works were copied and preserved in other libraries before the Great Library's fall. If those papyrus scrolls had survived, would we now be living in a more advanced world? Or have their secrets been passed on, hidden in other libraries still waiting to be discovered? Roman dodecahedrons. Since their first discovery in 1739 at Aston, England, more than 130 Roman dodecahedrons have been found across northwestern Europe, from England, France, and Germany to Hungary and Switzerland. But strangely, not a single one has ever been found in the heart of Rome itself. These objects, most often made from bronze alloys, have a 12-sided regular shape, with each face being a pentagon featuring a circular hole in the center. The size of the holes ranges from 6 millimeters to 40 millimeters. At every corner, there is a small knob protruding outward, as if each piece was meticulously cast for a special purpose. Their sizes range from as small as a golf ball to as large as a grapefruit, with weights varying from 35 grams to over 1 kilogram. What makes these dodecahedrons remarkable is the sophistication of their craftsmanship. Casting such a complex object in the 2nd to 4th centuries AD would have required advanced metallurgical skills and significant resources, suggesting that these were not ordinary items. Many dodecahedrons have been found together with hoards of coins, indicating that they held considerable value for their owners. When it comes to practical use, they do not seem to be working tools. So what exactly were they? Dozens of theories have been proposed to unravel this mystery, but none has ever been proven. One of the most popular ideas is that dodecahedrons may have been religious objects or used in rituals, especially within the Gallo-Roman culture, where Romans interacted with Celtic tribes in northern Europe. Some archaeologists believe they were used in magical or prophetic ceremonies, possibly kept secret because Roman law under Christianity banned such magical practices. The fact that a dodecahedron was discovered in the tomb of a woman in Belgium and near a horseman statue in Norton, Disney, lends further weight to this theory. Could these objects have been a medium for communication with the gods? Another theory proposes that dodecahedrons were measuring tools, perhaps used to calculate distance on the battlefield or measure the angle of sunlight for agriculture. However, the lack of standardization in the size and holes of these objects casts doubt on this explanation. The mystery deepens when considering their absence in Roman records. Not a single document or illustration ever mentions dodecahedrons. Were they so common that no one bothered to write about them? Or were they so secret that only a select few ever knew of their existence? Some researchers even speculate that they may have been related to forbidden rituals, which would explain why they appear only in the outskirts of the empire. Today, Roman dodecahedrons are scattered across museums throughout Europe, from the Lincoln Museum in England to the Gallo-Roman Museum in Belgium, each one a reminder of the secrets the Roman Empire took with it. The Dead Sea Scrolls. In 1947, a Bedouin shepherd boy, while searching for a lost goat near Qumran on the West Bank, accidentally threw a stone into a cave and heard the sound of pottery breaking. Inside, he discovered clay jars containing nearly intact scrolls made of parchment and papyrus. Archaeologists and Bedouins explored 11 caves near Qumran, unearthing around 981 manuscripts comprising more than 25,000 fragments, representing 800 original works. These scrolls date from the 3rd century BC to the 1st century AD, making them the oldest known copies of the Hebrew Bible and other religious texts ever discovered. The Dead Sea Scrolls include two main categories. About 40% are biblical manuscripts containing nearly every book of the Hebrew Bible. The remainder are non-biblical texts, including 30% sectarian writings such as the Community Rule, the War Scroll, and commentaries on the Book of Habakkuk, along with 30% documents from the Second Temple period, such as the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees. One of the strangest manuscripts is the Copper Scroll, which lists 64 locations of hidden gold and silver. But who created these scrolls, and why were they hidden? Many scholars believe they were the product of the Essenes, a Jewish sect living an austere life near Qumran. However, some argue that the scrolls may be a collection from Jerusalem's libraries, hidden in the caves to protect them from destruction during the Jewish revolt against Rome. This revolt led to the destruction of the Second Temple, and perhaps the scrolls were concealed to safeguard sacred knowledge from falling into enemy hands. What makes the Dead Sea Scrolls truly remarkable is how they challenge our understanding of the Bible. Before their discovery, the oldest known copy of the Hebrew Bible was the Leningrad Codex from 1008 AD. The scrolls are 1,000 years older, revealing a striking similarity to the later Masoretic text, confirming the care with which Jewish scribes preserved the scriptures. But the mystery does not end there. Some bold theories suggest the scrolls may contain forbidden secrets, teachings, or prophecies that religious leaders of the time deemed dangerous. Some have even speculated that the scrolls may be connected to the secret doctrines of Jewish sects, possibly influencing early Christian followers such as John the Baptist, whose purification rites resemble those of the Essenes. Another question is why the scrolls were hidden in sealed jars. Were they protected from war, or did they represent teachings intended only for a chosen few? There are no contemporary records explaining the reason, and the caves contain no tools or traces of daily life. It is possible that this act of concealment was related to the Jewish practice of Geniza, in which sacred but worn texts were buried to avoid desecration. Moving stones of Death Valley. Deep within the barren heart of Death Valley, a strange phenomenon has puzzled the world for more than a century. On the cracked, dry surface of racetrack playa, silent stones glide across the ground, leaving behind long trails as if they possessed a life of their own. No one has ever seen them move, yet the winding marks in the parched mud are undeniable proof. Racetrack Playa, a dried lake bed straddling the border of California and Nevada within Death Valley National Park, is the stage for the mystery of the walking stones. Some rocks leave straight tracks. Others carve sharp curves or suddenly change direction, as though guided by an invisible hand. Even more mysterious, not all stones move at the same time. Some remain perfectly still for decades before suddenly shifting. In 2011, A research team led by Richard Norris and Jim Norris set out to unravel this enigma. They placed GPS trackers on 15 stones, installed a weather station, and set up time-lapse cameras across racetrack playa. The team expected to wait 5 or 10 years for results. Yet just 2 years later, in December 2013, they witnessed more than 60 stones sliding across the playa, carving fresh tracks right before their eyes. The researchers discovered that the movement of the stones required a rare sequence of conditions. Rain must fall, pooling into a shallow layer of water about 7 to 10 centimeters deep, but never so deep that it submerges the stones. At night, temperatures plunge below freezing, forming a delicate layer of ice just 3 to 6 millimeters thick, what the team called windowpane ice. When the sun rises, the ice on the surface begins to melt, helping to nudge the stones forward. During the winter of 2013-2014, one rock was recorded traveling 224 meters, and these trails can last 3 or 4 years before the weather erases them completely. This theory ruled out earlier ideas, such as hurricane winds reaching 150 kilometers an hour, or slick mats of algae. It also dismissed the more outlandish theories, Earth's magnetic fields, magic, and even extraterrestrials. Yet even though the main mystery has been solved, some questions remain. Why do not all the stones move at once? Can the largest rocks, weighing up to 320 kilograms, travel in the same way? Racetrack playa is a reminder that nature can still create wonders. But have we truly understood everything about these walking stones? Lost Labyrinth of Egypt, more than 2,500 years ago, an ancient Greek historian stood before a wonder he described as surpassing even Egypt's Great Pyramids. He spoke of a colossal underground system with thousands of rooms covered in hieroglyphs and murals, buried beneath the desert sands. This was the Hawara Labyrinth, yet the labyrinth vanished from human sight, slipping into legend, doubted as mere fiction. Then, in 2008, as archaeologists excavated near the Pyramid of Hawara, a labyrinth revealed itself before their eyes. Was this the legendary maze? Located in the Fayum Oasis, about 90 kilometers south of Cairo, the Hawara Labyrinth is believed to lie near the pyramid of Pharaoh Amenemhat II, the last powerful king of Egypt's 12th dynasty. According to the historian Herodotus, who claimed to have witnessed it with his own eyes in the 5th century BC, the labyrinth was a 2-level structure with nearly 3,000 rooms, 1,500 above and 1,500 below. He described 12 roofed courts, 6 to the north and 6 to the south, with winding passages connecting rooms, corridors, and exquisitely carved pillars. The walls were covered in hieroglyphs and paintings, each courtyard encircled by flawlessly joined white stone columns. Herodotus wrote that if all the works of the Greeks were put together, they would not equal this labyrinth in labor and expense. But he was not the only one to see it. Ancient historians like Strabo, Diodorus Siculus, and Manetho also mentioned a colossal structure at Hawara, with some claiming to have explored it themselves. Strangely, the Egyptians did not call it a labyrinth. To them, it may have been a vast funerary complex designed to protect kings and sacred crocodiles. Herodotus recounted that the keeper refused to show him the underground chambers, saying they contained the tombs of the kings who built the labyrinth and the remains of holy crocodiles. The entire complex was surrounded by a wall 385 meters long and 158 meters wide, larger than both the Karnak and Luxor temples combined. Yet the mystery did not end with its discovery. After the 2008 find, Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities ordered that the results remain unpublished, citing reasons of national security. Researcher Louis de Cordier, head of the Mataha Group, waited 2 years for permission to go public, but received no response. In the end, he created a website to share the discovery with the world. Since then, no major excavations have taken place, and access to Hawara remains tightly restricted. Why would a discovery capable of rewriting history be kept secret? Could this labyrinth conceal secrets authorities do not want revealed? One theory suggests that the Hawara Labyrinth was a funerary complex built to protect the tomb of Amenemhat II and his daughter. Historians believe it could contain treasures, artifacts, and texts revealing the secrets of ancient civilization, cultures that predate recorded history. Some ancient documents claim the labyrinth was designed to confuse and protect the tomb from robbers. But there are also doubts that the labyrinth was as grand as Herodotus described. Some scholars believe ancient historians like Pliny exaggerated or relied on inaccurate sources, or may have never seen the structure themselves. Furthermore, over thousands of years, the Fayum region has been altered by flooding and stone quarrying, which may have destroyed or buried much of the labyrinth beneath Nile mud. Today, the Hawara Labyrinth remains an unsolved riddle. Even though radar has confirmed the existence of underground chambers, No one is permitted to enter and explore. Closing, these are only fragments, silent stones, unread scripts, empty tombs, sunken plains, sealed labyrinths. Each one a door opened a finger's width onto a deeper history than the one we think we know. Some will one day be opened further, others may never be opened at all, sealed by ancestors who decided their secrets were not for us. Whether the answers come tomorrow or never, the questions themselves remind us that the past is not as settled as we like to believe. There are still corners of this world where history breaks all the rules and waits patiently for whoever dares to look.